Hello, this is Victor at RestoreMercedes.com, and today I want to make this video for a local customer here. I'm working on his throttle bodies, and also for Jay in New York. And also this is just to show, I don't want to call anybody names, but these throttles were rebuilt by another company, and now they still had issues. Still customer had ASR problem. Many months trying to figure out what's going on. So yes, in the short term they would usually work, both throttles would work, and then in the long term they would shut off and then ASR pops up intermittently, which is the worst problem ever to have. So basically I checked throttles out and I noticed that I see issues with motors inside throttle bodies, and these throttle bodies, and it's 95s and up, they do have problems with motors. My problem here now is that other company already opened up the motor and they screwed up, now I have to think hard what I'm going to do with it. So let me show you what's going on. Well, first off, they had this thing hard in vise. As you can see, this is I mean, I don't like doing this, because when you have it in vise like this, you can crack this very fragile holder. And probably that's what happened, because here's one piece that came right off loose. The worst that I see is this. So basically this is the spring that holds the brush. I don't know if the camera shows it, but so as you can see, I moved it out the way. So there's supposed to be another one here. I removed it as well. So as you can see, the other end of the spring supposed to go into this tiny little notch, and what do we see here? We see that the notch is broken off. So the spring was basically left to compress against the case, which is not the super extremely bad situation, but and they put some sort of silicone here. There's silicone, it's soft. It's not the most terrible situation, because the worst would have been if you break the post, then this motor is pretty much gone, but the brush is still holding on. So I think that is still a workable situation. So that is still something that I can work with, although I probably will remove the spring and reshape it so it actually creates enough tension on the brush, because you do have to have good tension on both brushes, because if you don't have good tension, then you can have sparking going on, then you have sparking going on, arcing rather, then you will have premature wear of brush and armature contact points. Now this is extremely delicate stuff. I mean, these motors are not available. You cannot buy them. You have to buy the whole complete throttle body to source the motor from it. So that's very risky proposition to really try to mess with these. I really don't like going there in these motors, but I must, and I do it my way, and my way so far has been great. I never had problems. But again, now next point I want to show is that the dirt and all this grease and all this blackness and all this crap really on the armature points, it looks like oily substance. I don't know what that is, but you can't really tell that you have good contact because you have oil on your contact points. So it has to be as clean as possible, and in there you can see they're a little cleaner because that's what brushes move, but still you got this film. You see they got this line of dirt and oil, most likely from the bearing oil. The bearing probably just leaked oil out right onto contact points. That's a no-go. No, that had to be cleaned off. Like I clean mine as a whistle, they're like perfectly clean, and this, I don't know, they just I don't know, I have no words. I mean, this is something so delicate and expensive, and then it's done like this. This is very, to me, that I mean, I hate seeing it like that. Another thing is the actual plate. As you can see, it's bent, so you know that should be pretty much straight. if you compare with the one that I just opened up my way, as you can see, it's perfectly straight. See these two to compare. That one is bent outwards. Then the motor, when they put it back together, what happened was is that they didn't even compress anything. They just put some sort of like an epoxy on it, and one side was higher than the other, and the second I just tapped it and it just fell right off, because I don't think epoxy will glue very well to this metal. It's just, no, it's not good. No, you don't do that. So that's that. So again, not trying to call anybody names, but when you see this kind of stuff, and it's like, if it would have been cheap, okay, you play around with it, you mess with it, whatever. But this isn't cheap. This is V12 throttles. They're very expensive. So this has to be done with extremely delicate way. All right. So let's just, this basically, I have to think about this motor, see what I'm gonna do with it. I'm pretty much sure that it can still be rejuvenated and put back together right, and I can still make it work, and it should work reliably. I think I'll make it happen, because again, I don't have many of these motors. It's very, very rare and very expensive, and then you can only get this motor if you buy the whole complete throttle body. So you can't just buy it on eBay. They don't sell them. I don't think they even make them anymore. Okay, so let's leave this aside. So let's see what the problem with the secondary motor, because problems are on both motors. This rebuild company, they did only one and left the other one alone, although they had to do, these throttle bodies with small bolt case, you have to do both throttles with both motors at once. No matter if the other one is working good, no, you just do it. You have to be rebuilt, they have to be both overhauled. So secondary motor, I just opened it up, and as you can see, the reason why you have to do it is you see all this graphite dust. Basically, that's like years of accumulation of all this crap, basically. Rare. I mean, yes, it's a mechanical part, so you will have some residue, there's no question about it. But after 20 years, it is a good idea to really overhaul these. Second problem with this motor, the actual motor looks good. I mean, it's pretty decent. And see, it even has cleaner contact points, which is not too bad. But again, they have the same very flaw that I talk about and I explain to my customers. The brushes. So this brush right here is stuck. So sooner or later it will fail, or it might be failing already. That might be the cause of the failure. This one is moving. See, I can just move it around. Now these brushes are also super delicate. The problem is the connections, and then you can easily screw this up, and once the wire comes out the brush, that's it. I cannot call it reliable anymore, even if it's reattached. Trust me, I tried doing a lot of experiments with this, and it does not work well for me. Yes, there might be some other special ways, but I really do not like to disturb the connection between the brush and the connecting cable, because that might not be as good as, even if you reattach it one way or the other, it might not be as good as it was done at the factory. But this brush is clearly stuck. So again, this isn't going to be easy to remove this brush without putting force onto this cable. I have my own specific ways of doing these things, but this motor is definitely a keeper. I'll definitely get this one, so it's going to be reliable for many more years, because it was not touched. I'll do it my way, and I'm not saying it's the right way, it's just my way that is proven to work. So that's what I'm going to do. And obviously it's my name on it, so it's the warranty and everything. And it's a local customer, so welcome to come any day. No, all my customers know where I live. I'm not hiding nowhere, and I'm not giving any kind of excuses. If anything is done, it's done. So yeah, over here we see is that this brush is moving, but there is a little bit of a tension because, again, of that greasy substance, as you can see right here. Maybe even they try to grease it, which is not a good idea. I don't know if I can pick it up on the pick. but this tiny greasy particle, like, I don't know if you can pick it up on the pick, but it's grease there or whatever it is. I don't know. This is just terrible. It's supposed to be dry. Now on this one right here, let's check this one out real quick. See, it's the grease just came right off right here, off this first. So yeah, this one moves very free. So this one I have no problems with. Maybe they replaced brushes with some used ones or whatever, but again, this all has to be redone. I have to redo this whole thing, and just, you know, this is just, I'm just speechless. I mean, again, this is expensive stuff. This is delicate, expensive stuff. You put this whole thing in the vise and crush your holder because you crush the whole case. This is the vice grips or whatever they use or something, crushing this whole thing, and then other problems can arise by dislodging the magnets. That's not fun either. So anyway, this is where we are. Good or bad, it is for you guys to decide. To me, I don't like this at all. And again, I'm not gonna say who did it. It's just that it's another company who do these throttles, and I can't, you know, I cannot, you know, I don't know what to say. Yes, also sometimes bearing seize ups. These bearings seize up, but I have replacement ones, if anything. This one is good. So, all right, so I'll wrap this up. This was a long rant, kind of, not a rant, but I wanted to show a customer that I'm doing something that is needed to be done, not just like I'm taking the money and rebuilding these motors. And many times I have lots of requests where customers say, I have these throttle bodies, but the wires are bad, and why do you need to do the motors? I mean, they seem to be spinning. They would test them, they work. For this very reason, you need to overhaul them, because they spin now, but tomorrow, day after, a month later, who knows? So they need to be overhauled every single time you work on these throttle bodies. And that's basically going to be my consensus over here, because you're going to have all of this crap in there. Then you're gonna have brushes that are stuck. Then you're gonna burn the motor, and then once you burn the motor, you need a whole new throttle body or another used one. Spend a lot of money just to source the motor if you want to get your throttle. I mean, it's no. I mean, it's not. You know, you want to have a peace of mind. You just want to have these done and working, or you will be chasing the problem that sometimes you get the codes thrown, like an ASR limp mode appearing, and you lose gas response, and you try to keep checking for things. You're basically looking for something that you think the throttle bodies are done, and this is the, you know, they're not even in question here, but you try to change parts and trying to throw money, and then at the end of the day, it will still come back for throttle bodies. You know, you're still gonna come back to them, but that's gonna cost you thousands of dollars, lots of aggravation, lots of time, because, you know, it's just the way it is. So these motors, and again, I totally not recommending anybody touch these things, because it's a big liability. One wrong move, motor's gone. So it is bad. I also managed to find brushes. They're not the same size, but even if the brush is loose or broken, I filed them down by hand and install the brand new brushes if need be. I try to keep original ones, but sometimes you do have these situations where the wire disconnects from the brush, and that's another reason when you take the brushes out, then you can actually see how tight the wire is in there, and if it's loose, brush has to be replaced. So again, like, these are my ways. Again, wrong way or right way, it's for you guys to decide. It's just like I said, it's just my way. I'm not trying to, you know, just whatever, just no commercial here. It's just pure facts. Okay, these are pure facts. I mean, I don't put my thing in the vise, as you can see, perfectly fine, whereas this one is, you know, you can clearly see the difference, what's going on here, like they banging on it, or I don't know, or like a wise grip it or something, you know. I don't yeah, it's got it. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that's all. That's going to be all. It's going to be a long video, but this video I'm basically going to share with all my customers who have these throttle bodies, and the reason why these motors have to be done, and not to skip on overhauling the motors when I have throttle bodies for rewiring. It's very important. So because I did have some customers who actually declined to fix the motors, but then I cannot guarantee these throttle bodies, because if I don't see the motors internals, I cannot say that okay, yes, they will work. No. And the last remark is the worst one, is that every time you buy a brand new throttle body from the dealer, you will have this motor. So even though the wires are good, but motors, one day or the other, will still fail, unfortunately. But, you know, 5-10 years from now, it's still a long time, because the original one lasted 20 years. So hey, once it goes, once I overhaul them, I do the right thing, so they will basically become as good as new. So theoretically, they can also last another 20 years. No question about it. So this is all. This is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. You can visit me there. You can see my contact information there on my website. And that's going to be all. Thank you for watching.